to Bad Larry.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and today we're checking out X-Men number 3, Scott Summers versus the United States government. There are two main struggles that X-Men deal with: discovering and helping newly empowered mutants, giving them a safe place to exist and train them in using their abilities so as not to be a danger to themselves and others, and deal with the human communities that continue to fear them and or accost them just for existing, just for being mutants. It's a fine balance keeping the audience engaged in both missions. We saw in X-Men issues number 1 and 2 a lot of the exciting field work the X-Men do in their primary mission. But this third issue delves into that secondary mission, dealing with the local human society. But before we launch into the issue, let's rate that cover. This cover reminds me of when Angela Merkel and those NATO goons were trying to bully and intimidate President Trump, and Trump is just sitting there calm as a cucumber. As you can see, I rate this cover a 93 out of 100. It's an A. It makes me want to pick it up and read it. Job well done. There's an excellent use of lighting and color, and it tells the reader what to expect inside. The only real negative is that even though I love Cyclops, he's my guy, having only one X-Men on the cover when it's a team book, well, that deducts a few points. The issue begins with the Banisher, a mutant, teleporting in some super soldiers into the X-Men's Alaskan base. I enjoy how MacKay uses some of these more obscure mutants and writes them into the issue as a little treat, reminding the reader that these characters still exist, like in issue 1 when we got to see Zorn very briefly. But the Banisher is an OG. He was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and his first appearance was in X-Men number 2 back in 1963. So this guy has been around basically from the start. And it's nice that MacKay gives this character a little cameo in this issue. I've included some of his outfits and looks from the past. Originally, his little Lone Ranger mask was indeed a mask, but has evolved to be a permanent tattoo as part of his bad boy look. We learn a lot in these few panels. These super soldiers are called the Shrike Team. Weird, right? They were sent there by Agent Lundqvist of the government. They are directed to not kill anyone, and their suits are stealth, making them invisible to the naked eye. Oh, and these human dudes are super rude, calling the Vanisher a mutie. They say the dirty mutie. Even when these humans are needing the help or are using mutants for their purposes, they can't help but drink that haterade. So the government goons are inside the X-Men's base and the field leader is away. Not good. After Krakoa, and with all these mutants going their separate ways, Cyclops is still trying to help guide and lead the others. But the uncanny X-Men group are made up of the most stubborn of all the mutants: Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee, Wolverine. And they are basically homeless out there and have just acquired 4 more new mutants. Going back to the primary mission of the X-Men, Cyclops' primary mission: give new mutants a safe home in which they can learn to control their newly formed abilities. Cyclops has his Alaskan base, but is obviously concerned that his counterparts are bringing in people without an established home. And it seems like the Uncanny team isn't flush with cash either. So the situation mimics more real life. People struggling with money problems, just trying to survive. And Cyclops obviously can't get through to them as they are all so stubborn. Cyclops shakes hands with the chief of police of the town, this sweet little chubby gal, Chief Robbins, who appears like she's just a sweet little normal gal, but she has set up Cyclops to have this encounter with Agent Lundqvist. And when we see Cyclops is surrounded by the Shrike operatives, that's when she decides to make a little comment about quote-unquote our town. Our referring to the humans. She's basically saying to Cyclops she doesn't like him or the mutants coming to town. And this is and has been the sentiment the mutants have had to deal with for forever. The humans either hate them outright and try to attack them, or, like this Chief Robbins here, barely tolerate their existence as long as they stay out of town or out of human society. She's also coming from a keep the peace situation. The X-Men bought the factory that employed the majority of the townsfolk, so even though the factory was making Sentinels, it employed a lot of humans. And when the humans get out of work, especially in this environment where there isn't clearly a lot of opportunity, those humans will look to take out their rage on the mutants. So the chief doesn't want to battle on Main Street between the mutants and the humans, so she really prefers the X-Men stay out of town. Man, what a smug son of a bitch this Agent Lundqvist. Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman work really well together telling this story, this alpha male pissing contest between Cyclops and Agent Lundqvist. A lot of this story is untold. It's in the subtle mannerisms we see in the art. For one, Agent Lundqvist is already sitting and eating. This shows two things: that this is his territory and Cyclops is coming into his domain. And by already starting to eat, he's disrespecting Cyclops by not waiting. You know, if you're meeting someone for lunch or you're having a meeting, you're going to wait to eat until that other party arrives, but not this guy. It's all about showing subtle disrespect and power. And two, he doesn't shake Cyclops' hand. He doesn't stand to greet him. He doesn't even look him in the eye. All signs of complete disrespect. And Agent Lundqvist is cocky as shit, knowing he has a special Shrike team infiltrating the X-Men base right now. He just thinks he's the king shit. It's all conveyed in this one picture. Great visual storytelling. These 2 pages are quite revealing regarding the mindsets of both Temper and Beast. Now that we are in the post-Krakoan era, it's easy for the reader and for the majority of the mutants to look back at Krakoa as this utopia and what a shame it all came crumbling down, and I guess this unified opinion that Krakoa was just so great. But that isn't true, not for everyone's experience. Temper here had a horrible Krakoan experience. She was a prisoner basically the whole time, so for her, she's dealing with some anger, even though she's free. But the anger that she didn't get to have the same utopian experience as everyone else, and that people look to the Krakoan era as only a positive thing, when clearly it wasn't, especially for her. And now that she is free, she's kind of stuck on this team as there isn't really anywhere else for her to go and be safe. So even though she's out of the Krakoan prison, she's in a different prison, a situational prison. She's either going to accept where she is and choose to be happy, or continue in this fiery, almost victim mentality where she's going to be lonely, cold to others, and have a hard day-to-day experience. I'm interested in how Jed MacKay will develop her mentally and her character over these next couple issues. Now on to Beast, we know or we learn that Hank McCoy basically never experienced Krakoa. Well, not the Beast we see in this run here. The Beast we see here is basically the Beast from the start of X Factor, after Jean Grey just returned from the dead and Cyclops came back to be with X Factor. Beast's relationships are all skewed for now. For example, this Beast I don't think has ever even met Gambit. So Beast's character has a lot to catch up with and catch up on, as well as Temper. So two of the X-Men are both mentally struggling with their place in this new situation they find themselves in. Will they make the most of it or fight the current? We can only wait and see. Again, another beautiful marriage between Stegman and MacKay in depicting these interactions between Cyclops and Agent Lundqvist. We see Cyclops here is sitting tall. He's looking at Agent Lundqvist and he's interacting with him in a question of concern, which is, he's just being nice. And in contrast, we see Lundqvist is slumped over, bad posture, elbows on the table, Cyclops' elbows off the table. We see a very stark contrast in the body mechanics of Cyclops and Lundqvist. One is more proper, doing the right thing. The other one is just being an asshole. And then you know that these agents, they don't like answering questions. They like asking questions. Where's your ID? Where do you live? What's your social security number? All of these things. When you are asking the questions, you're the one that's in control of the conversation. So Cyclops asks Lundqvist a benign question. Hey, you seem upset. And Lundqvist responds in a jackass way. Oh, that's how I seem, Summers? Oh, is that how I seem? So he asks him basically another question. It's this great dynamic of fighting for control of every single moment that passes. It's very intense. We're starting to get to the good part of this interaction between Cyclops and Lundqvist, which is why I think it's great that Stegman drew this blueberry pie, because as Lundqvist is getting closer to the middle, that's really the best part of the pie, right? And now we're going to get to the best part of this little pissing contest between Cyclops and Lundqvist. Lundqvist is just totally trying to flex on Cyclops using the power of the U.S. government as his leverage, and is trying to tell Cyclops, hey, we gave you this base here, we gave this to you under the understanding that you would stay there, stay out of everybody's way, and now you're out here going around, traveling around in San Francisco. So the government is basically telling Cyclops, hey, stay in your little base and do what you're told. And Cyclops is basically saying, no, first of all, you didn't give me the base. I won the base in a settlement, so there wasn't any gift. I'm not taking any charity from you, which means I don't have to do what the F you tell me to do. And obviously, Lundqvist doesn't like to be pushed back. No government agency, authoritarian figure likes to be told no. They like to tell people what to do and have people follow their commands and their orders like little puppets. And Cyclops is letting Lundqvist know he and his X-Men ain't no government puppets. Look at the posture change. Cyclops goes from elbows off the table, very erect posture, prim and proper, to now he's slumped over. He's like, you want to get down and dirty? I'll get down and dirty with you, Agent Lundqvist. I ain't afraid to get down to your level. You want to play dirty? I'll play dirty with you, fella. Ooh, if this picture doesn't just get under your skin, it's just like any authoritarian figure pointing that dirty fork in your face saying, look at here, you do what you're told, Buster. But Cyclops ain't playing with these fools. He's a real G. He says, no, you listen to me. Cyclops been through too much. He ain't taking no orders from no stupid Agent Lundqvist. Okay? He's a real G. F you, I ain't doing what you tell me to do. Who are you? Cyclops lets Lundqvist have it with all the reasons why he earned that base from the U.S. government when the government was complicit with all of these things that they did against him, being complicit in him being tortured, his eyes being sewn shut, which I showed here, his wife being murdered. I mean, all of these things, Lundqvist has the gall to say that it was a gift. The base was a gift. And Cyclops tells this agent it's a gift to him that he didn't even take more. And look at the face on Lundqvist. He had to sit back up and change the posture and the look of his face. He's having to reestablish how he's going to deal with Cyclops. He thought his little bully government tactics were going to work on Cyclops. And then he brings it back once he's established that he's the alpha dog. And he's like, I know, by the way, buy me a BLT, bitch. So here's the only kind of negative I have with this comic is that I wish I could have seen the interaction between the Shrike team and Beast. You know, we see Quentin Quire, aka Kid Omega, coming up to an unconscious Beast, but we don't see how that battle went down. It would have been nice to see Beast land a few shots or at least see how he got knocked out, but what's important is that Beast's last few moments of memory are being downloaded by Quentin Quire and sent out to the rest of the X-Men at the X-Men base. Another good bit of writing letting us readers know what it would feel like to have these memories kind of forcibly dumped into your brain. Magic says it feels like a brain freeze. But at least now, Magic, Psylocke, Juggernaut, Temper know they have enemies in the base, that they're prepared, and it's time for kick ass! Kid Omega isn't a professional like Psylocke. He's speaking out loud. Psylocke tells him, shut the fuck up. Communicate via the telepathic link that they had established, because as a ninja, she knows information is important. You don't want to give the enemy any clues onto what you know. Knowledge is power. Secrecy is power. Kid Omega is just spitting out ideas, thinking, oh, they must be after Magneto. But she's telling him, hey, it's time to communicate via psychic link. From this point on, we don't want to give the enemy any more information than they already have. So it's showing a great dynamic between Kid Omega, what his abilities are, and Psylocke, what her strengths are. She's a professional, she's a ninja, she's got way more experience. So this dynamic is very cool. And then we go to the simplicity of Juggernaut. Just like the Hulk. I see, I smash, but Juggernaut cannot see, so he cannot smash. How are these X-Men going to overcome the Shrike team and their invisibility technology? And I love again the usage of each character's abilities. Magic, she was and has been the queen of limbo. She's used to looking at people's soul. Like Ghost Rider, she can see people's souls. So maybe she can't see their physical beings, but can a human being hide their soul? I don't think so. So now that the pissing match is kind of balanced out between Cyclops and Lundqvist, you can get to the actual issue. Lundqvist is he's not happy because the mutants are out there causing a ruckus out there in San Francisco. Cyclops is like, and you can't, we already established you can't tell us what to do and where to go. And the only person that died was one of us. And Lundqvist hits Cyclops with a little bit of drama. Someone had recorded the X-Men's activities in San Francisco on their cell phone, which is likely everybody's got a cell phone. As soon as something happens, whip it out, you start recording. And they obviously uploaded the video and what happened to social media. And for the first time, the public, the human public, had realized that people can become mutants later in life, not just through, in puberty. So Lundqvist is saying that the people are saying that the mutantism is now a mutant disease, that you can catch it like a virus. So now, not only are they looking at mutants as not as humans, but now they're acting like being a mutant is a disease. This is how Lundqvist is spinning this whole human-mutant interaction. This is what Cyclops and his team are going to have to face in the future. Being looked at like they're spreading a virus. So that's not good. And again, from Lundqvist's point of view, he's the government. The government wants to control everything. They want to know everything about the mutants. So what they expect is that mutants develop during puberty. So if people are starting to become mutants later in life, in their 20s or 30s, well, that's new information. That's something that they don't feel like they can control, and now they're upset about that. So again, it's all about information and control. Oh man, is this cool or what? I've never seen Magic use her powers in this way, where she's not seeing through the realm of reality. She's looking at people through this demonic reality where she can see their souls as images in the ether. And now that she knows where her targets are, she can point her weapon, which is Juggernaut, at the targets and let them have it. The Shrike agents think shooting stunners at Juggernaut is going to work. Nah, Juggernaut says, I'm the #1 stunner. and knock these two idiots out. And I love how, again, MacKay and Stegman have worked together in developing the action scenes. So most of all the battles we see in issue 1, 2, and 3 is at least a team up. Rarely are we seeing someone using their powers one on one with the enemy. We're gonna see a lot of team ups, and so in this we see Magic and Juggernaut teaming up, and here we have Kid Omega using his telekinesis, teaming up with Psylocke, using her kick-ass ninja skills to knock out these fools. You know, Kid Omega, he's not a hand-to-hand fighter like Psylocke. She's not as powerful of a telepath, but she is a powerful kick-ass person. And I like what she says, hey, they didn't try to technically kill us, so I guess we won't technically kill them. You gotta have a little bit of humor in an X-Men book, right? So Kid Omega scolds Juggernaut a little bit about knocking these two Shrike agents out almost to death. And Juggernaut's like, look, I'm the Juggernaut. I'm sorry. I'm not a little shrimpy, wimpy boy like you. And I love Psylocke's Psy Knife. You don't need someone awake to try to interrogate them when you just slam your Psy blade into their skull, find out all the information you want forcibly. And Psylocke finds out they are not after Magneto. They are after Cerebro. These Shrike agents are wanting to destroy the X-Men's Cerebro so they can't be going out and trying to help these newly emerging mutants. These dirty government bastards. So Lundqvist again tries to put Cyclops in his place, saying, hey, you know, we don't need you uncontrolled X-Men team out there going around causing problems. We've got our own mutant team, a government team, X Factor, led by your brother, Alex, and they're out there. They could do this job that you're trying to do. Why don't you just sit at your base and chill while we use X Factor to go and deal with all of these mutants that pop up out of nowhere. And Cyclops is like, oh yeah, my brother Alex? Nah, he ain't as good as me, bro. I'll do what I want to do. Unlike my brother Alex, I'm not no government puppet. I'm going to go where I want to go, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and you're going to be okay with that, or else. And I love this guy's indignation. How dare you threaten me? I'm a government official. I mean, knowing at this exact moment he's got secret agents infiltrating Cyclops' home without his consent, illegal search and seizure, okay? That's violating his constitutional rights. But this guy's like, how dare you insult me and threaten me? And Cyclops is like, look, it's in your best interest. I've got a group, I got an assassin, I got a little terrorist kid, I got a supervillain Juggernaut, and I got a half-demon lady on a good day, plus I got Magneto. You know, all of these guys, you want them to be busy doing good stuff and not sitting on their thumbs coming up and trying to do evil things, okay? So it's in your best interest to let me lead these people in doing good stuff so they won't be doing bad stuff. FYI. The Shrike team, a couple of these idiots have found their way into Cerebro, which is a pretty nice depiction of Cerebro. So I have to give Ryan Stegman a thumbs up. This is a pretty kick-ass depiction of Cerebro. And it's pretty cool that Cyclops and his team have the world's last Cerebro, which is why these government idiots are trying to destroy it. They want to control everything. They can't have Cyclops and his team having better data and information on these newly developing mutants. That's the government's job. Well, these two idiots pop some sort of grenades thinking that they're going to burn down Cerebro and possibly the whole headquarters. Remember when I said that most of these battles are done as a team? Magic and Juggernaut, Kid Omega and Psylocke? Well, this is Temper's time to shine. And because she has duality, it's almost like two characters. You got like the Iceman and the Human Torch all in one. So even though she's by herself, because she's a duality character, it's like having two. And these two idiots break all the protocol. They're about to kill this poor girl. And she's like, oh, y'all want to play, do ya? You want to play with me? I'll show you how I play, bitch. Epic hero catch of both grenades. You know how hard it is to catch something in both hands that are thrown not directly at you? Ooh, that's cool. So now she's about to let him have it. Temper has such a cool power set, no pun intended, able to take the heat, which is why she doesn't burn. She's able to absorb the heat almost like Bishop absorbs energy and redistributes it as a plasma blast out of his hands, but instead of blasting plasma blast, she's able to take heat, fire, and transform it into ice, which is what she's done, taking all of the energy from these canisters, even the energy from these guys in their suits, and lock them in place in an ice prison, Iceman style, and have an epic hero walkout. Very cool. In many ways, I enjoy these type of stories almost more than the field stories where everybody's using all their powers in these epic battles. This is so cool. These leverage type stories. This guy Lundqvist still thinks that he has leverage and power over Cyclops. He's saying, "Oh, you think you and your little band of mutants can take on the whole U.S. government?" Cyclops is thinking, well, if they make me, I've done it before. I could do it again. And if push comes to shove, with all the people I got on my team, Magneto, Juggernaut, everybody, yeah, I think so. I think I can. And if that don't work, how about I call my wife, Phoenix, and she'll burn it all down to the ground. How about that? Why don't you take that and put it in your pipe and smoke it? And here's the final coup de grace, the nail in this Agent Lundqvist's pride and power trip, knowing that Cyclops knew all along about his secret little invasion into his base, and here he has all of his secret agents locked up and unconscious. Mission failed for him, and no one got killed. Cyclops used his greatest power, which was his power of strategy, of influence, of leverage. I love it. Everybody else in the team got to use, except Beast, got to use their mutant powers. Cyclops never fired one optic blast, but was wound up being really the most powerful character in the story because he went toe to toe with the government, and you saw he came out victorious. But every battle, even if you win, comes at a cost. If you've ever been a soldier, a warrior, you've been in any type of altercation, there's always a cost that comes with any type of altercation, whether it's emotional or physical. And here we see the pressure of being this leader of this particular team is having a legitimate impact on Cyclops' physical well-being. He's sweating. He's having a panic attack because, if you remember, he died being an X-Men. This tiger creature literally killed him, and because of Krakoa, he was able to come back to life and assume the title of Captain Krakoa and all of that, but he doesn't have that safety blanket anymore. Everything now counts. You can't just go and die anymore. So he can't die. He can't let his team members die. And the pressure of this new circumstances is definitely triggering some sort of PTSD in him, which I'm interested to see in future episodes how he's going to deal with that. So excellent character development, excellent insight into what's actually troubling Cyclops as well. We know that everybody on this team has got some sort of problem, which is why they're such an interesting team this series. Boy, what an excellent issue in my opinion. I rated a 97 out of 100. It was nearly perfect. The only thing I thought it would have been cooler but unnecessary, we didn't get to see Cyclops blast his optic blast. I don't know if there would have been a need for that. But we also didn't get to see Beast do anything cool and use his power abilities at all. That would have been nice if we would have been able to see him getting knocked out by the Shrike agents. But other than that, I thought that this issue was darn near perfect. 97 out of 100. Let me know what you rate this issue down in the comments below. And stay tuned for X-Men number 4, where we're going to see some involvement between maybe the X-Men and Trevor Fitzroy. But until then, make sure you hit that like button. It means a lot to me. It means a whole heck of a lot to me. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. And be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.